Welcome to today's video, where we'll be exploring 8 reasons you should always step on their toes through the lens of Stoicism. Now, when we talk about stepping on toes, we're not encouraging aggression or needless conflict. Instead, it's about standing firm in your values, speaking the truth, and refusing to compromise on your principles, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Stoicism teaches us the importance of integrity, self-discipline, and unwavering commitment to our purpose. Sometimes, this means pushing back against social pressures or the expectations of others. It's easy to stay silent or avoid confrontation to keep the peace, but in doing so, you risk losing your authenticity and allowing others to steer your life. If you've ever hesitated to stand your ground because you didn't want to upset others, this video is for you. We're going to explore how some of the most successful people in history and today, like Abraham Lincoln, Beyoncé, Marcus Rashford, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, stepped on people's toes for the right reasons and how it led to their incredible success. Let's dive into the powerful Stoic philosophy behind why you should never hesitate to stand firm, even if it means stepping on some toes. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. Drop your comment in the comment section. If you don't know what to say, just write this: "I'm a real Stoic." Give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from learning how to stand their ground. Let's build a community where we prioritize integrity, strength, and living in alignment with our values. Number 1. Pursuit of truth. In a world filled with various opinions, ideas, and influences, the pursuit of truth can often feel like navigating a vast and complex landscape. Stoicism, a philosophy grounded in rationality, encourages us to actively seek out truth in all aspects of life, regardless of the challenges it presents. This unwavering dedication to truth may sometimes require us to confront others, to step on their toes, so to speak, in order to challenge falsehoods or misconceptions. While this may create discomfort or conflict, Stoicism reminds us that our duty to truth and reason transcends the desire for personal comfort or the avoidance of confrontation. Consider the example of Socrates, often regarded as the philosophical forefather of Stoicism, who dedicated his life to questioning the beliefs and assumptions of those around him. Socrates famously stepped on the toes of powerful figures in Athens by challenging their ideas and exposing the flaws in their reasoning. He believed that without questioning and confrontation, one could never arrive at the truth. His relentless pursuit of truth ultimately led to his execution, but his legacy endures as a reminder of the importance of standing up for what is right, even when it comes at great personal cost. When we look at the Stoic principle of pursuing truth, we find that it demands a commitment to honesty, integrity, and rational thought. This commitment often requires us to challenge others when we see falsehoods or irrationality. One reason for this is that allowing falsehoods to persist unchecked can create confusion and distort the reality in which we operate. Stoicism teaches us to see the world clearly, to remove the distortions of emotions, biases, and misconceptions. When we challenge others in pursuit of truth, we are not only helping ourselves, but also encouraging those around us to see the world more clearly. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of seeking truth and acting in accordance with it. He emphasized that we should not be swayed by others' opinions or afraid of conflict when it comes to upholding what we believe is true. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote that the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. This idea highlights the importance of standing up for truth, even when it means going against the grain or challenging the prevailing views of society. One significant case study in the pursuit of truth is the life of Galileo Galilei, the Italian astronomer and physicist whose discoveries challenged the established beliefs of the Catholic Church. Galileo's observations of the heliocentric nature of the solar system, proving that the Earth revolved around the Sun, not the other way around, contradicted the teachings of the Church at the time. By stepping on the toes of religious authorities, Galileo faced severe persecution, yet he persisted in his commitment to the truth. In the spirit of Stoicism, he understood that the pursuit of truth was more important than the fear of social or institutional backlash. Galileo's courage to challenge the dominant worldview of his time reflects the Stoic principle of courage in the face of adversity. It is easy to imagine how Galileo could have chosen to remain silent in order to avoid the trouble that followed. But Stoicism teaches that silence in the face of falsehood is a form of complicity. In the same way, when we see others perpetuating harmful beliefs or inaccuracies, it is our responsibility to step on their toes and challenge those ideas. This does not mean engaging in hostility or anger, as Stoicism values emotional control and rational discourse. Instead, it means approaching the situation with a calm, clear mind and offering reasoned arguments to help guide others toward the truth. Another essential aspect of the Stoic pursuit of truth is the recognition that truth is not always comfortable or convenient. In many cases, confronting falsehoods requires us to challenge not only others, but also ourselves. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, often spoke about the importance of self-examination in the pursuit of truth. He believed that before we can challenge others, we must first ensure that we are living in accordance with reason and truth. This requires constant self-reflection and a willingness to confront our own biases, misconceptions, and emotional responses. By doing so, we can engage others with integrity and authenticity, making our pursuit of truth all the more effective. If this message resonated with you and helped you reflect on situations where you've compromised your values, we'd love to hear from you. Share your life experiences in the comments. Have you ever held back when you should have stood firm? How did it impact you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from learning how to stand their ground. Let's build a community where we prioritize integrity, strength, and living in alignment with our values. Number 2, strengthening character. When it comes to developing and strengthening one's character, Stoicism teaches that standing firm in your beliefs and values often means stepping on others' toes. This act, while uncomfortable, is necessary when it's aligned with reason and virtue. A person of strong character does not fear the reactions of others when they speak or act in ways that challenge the status quo, especially when truth, justice, or ethical principles are at stake. In Stoicism, the idea of not being swayed by external events or the opinions of others is a fundamental concept. This philosophy encourages us to focus on what is within our control, our own actions, thoughts, and responses, while recognizing that how others react to us is outside of our control. Stepping on toes in this context becomes a practice in building resilience, courage, and moral clarity. It is about standing your ground and acting according to your values, even when it may cause discomfort or conflict with others. Strengthening character means being willing to confront others when necessary. This doesn't imply seeking conflict for the sake of conflict, but it means that when confronted with wrong actions or unjust situations, a person of strong character must be willing to speak up, no matter the consequences. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of justice, wisdom, and courage, and stepping on toes can be an act of all three when it is done to correct a wrong or uphold a principle. One of the most well-known Stoic concepts is the idea of apatheia, or emotional tranquility. This is not about being indifferent to others, but rather about maintaining composure and inner peace regardless of the external chaos or reactions that may follow your actions. When you step on someone's toes in the pursuit of truth or justice, Stoicism teaches that their emotional reaction, whether it be anger, frustration, or discomfort, should not be a cause for concern. What matters is that your actions are guided by reason and virtue. To illustrate, imagine a scenario in which someone in a position of power is making decisions that are unethical or harmful to others. Many people around you might choose to remain silent, afraid of the consequences of speaking up. However, a person committed to the Stoic principles of justice and integrity would feel compelled to step on this person's toes, regardless of the possible fallout. The act of standing up against injustice, even if it leads to personal or social discomfort, is essential for the strengthening of one's character. Through such actions, we become more resilient, courageous, and aligned with our values. A prime example of this can be seen in the life of Jesus Christ. Throughout his ministry, Jesus often stepped on the toes of religious and political leaders, particularly when it came to issues of justice and righteousness. One of the most notable instances was when he overturned the tables of the money changers in the temple, accusing them of turning a house of worship into a den of thieves. In doing so, Jesus did not worry about how these individuals would react to his actions. He acted out of a deep commitment to truth and righteousness, knowing that confrontation was necessary to stand up for what was right. This example aligns with the Stoic concept of not fearing external consequences when upholding one's moral duty. Stepping on toes, then, is also a way to test and refine your own character. In Stoicism, personal growth comes from facing challenges, both external and internal. When you step on someone's toes, when you challenge their ideas, their actions, or their behavior, you are also challenging yourself. You are forcing yourself to examine your own beliefs and values, to ensure that you are acting with integrity and reason. This is how character is strengthened, through the practice of courage and the willingness to stand firm in your principles, even when it's uncomfortable. It's also important to note that stepping on toes doesn't always mean confronting others in an aggressive or hostile manner. Sometimes it's simply about refusing to go along with the crowd or standing firm in your decisions when others try to persuade you otherwise. This can be particularly difficult in social settings, where there may be pressure to conform. However, by adhering to Stoic principles and refusing to compromise on what you know to be right, you are strengthening your character through these small but significant acts of resistance. Thus, strengthening character is not a passive process. It requires active engagement with the world, and sometimes that means stepping on toes. By doing so, we cultivate the courage, resilience, and moral clarity that Stoicism values so highly. The opinions of others, while perhaps uncomfortable to face, are secondary to the pursuit of truth and virtue. Number 3, encouraging growth. In Stoicism, stepping on people's toes can often be the catalyst for encouraging growth, not just for yourself, but for others as well. Sometimes, confronting others or challenging their beliefs is necessary to push them toward personal development. Growth, both moral and intellectual, comes from discomfort, and sometimes this discomfort is caused by someone challenging our established ways of thinking or acting. This approach may seem confrontational at first glance, but it's a necessary part of guiding both yourself and others toward improvement and self-mastery. When we challenge others, especially when their habits, ideas, or behaviors need correction, we're often met with resistance. People tend to stay in their comfort zones, and when someone steps on their toes, it forces them to re-examine their choices. A Stoic understands that such resistance is inevitable, but the focus should remain on truth and personal growth rather than avoiding confrontation. When you challenge others, you provide them with an opportunity to reassess their behavior or choices, which in turn can lead to growth. As Epictetus taught, sometimes we have to engage in these difficult conversations and actions for the greater good, regardless of how uncomfortable they may seem. One example of stepping on someone's toes to encourage growth comes from political leadership. A well-known politician like Abraham Lincoln faced fierce criticism throughout his career, particularly during his presidency. Lincoln's decision to issue the Emancipation Proclamation was met with both support and opposition, but he knew it was a necessary action to challenge the status quo. By stepping on the toes of those who supported slavery, he not only provoked a moral reckoning in the country, but also pushed the nation toward a greater understanding of justice and equality. Lincoln's actions encouraged the growth of a more just society, even though they caused discomfort for many at the time. This demonstrates how sometimes the courage to step on toes leads to profound social change and growth. In more personal settings, stepping on toes to encourage growth often happens in close relationships. A friend or colleague might be heading down a destructive path, whether through poor life choices, unhealthy habits, or unproductive ways of thinking. As a Stoic, it's your responsibility to confront them. This doesn't mean being harsh or judgmental, but it does require directness and honesty. For instance, if a close friend is consistently making poor financial decisions, ignoring the problem might keep the peace, but it does nothing to help them. By stepping on their toes and addressing the issue head-on, you offer them an opportunity to change and grow. It's crucial to understand that stepping on toes in this way is not about asserting superiority or exerting control over others. It's about fostering an environment where growth is possible. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of wisdom and discernment in interactions with others. Sometimes people need to be nudged, gently or firmly, out of their comfort zones to see things in a different light or to address problems they've been avoiding. You are helping them recognize their flaws or limitations, which can ultimately lead to self-improvement. The same principle applies to leadership, whether in a political, corporate, or familial context. A strong leader, informed by Stoic teachings, knows when to challenge those under their guidance. A leader who always seeks to please everyone or avoid stepping on toes will foster stagnation. True growth, both for individuals and for groups, requires moments of discomfort. Leaders must sometimes make unpopular decisions or give feedback that people don't want to hear. However, if done with wisdom and a clear moral purpose, this is how teams, organizations, and even societies can grow and evolve. Stoicism teaches that it's not the short-term reaction that matters, but the long-term outcome. Take, for instance, a mentor-student relationship. A mentor who is always kind and never pushes their student beyond their current capabilities is not doing their job. Stoicism teaches that challenges are necessary for growth. If the mentor steps on the student's toes by setting high expectations or by pointing out flaws in their thinking, they are not discouraging the student, but instead encouraging them to reach higher and strive for excellence. In this case, stepping on toes isn't about hurting the student's feelings. It's about helping them realize their full potential, pushing them out of complacency and into a mindset that embraces continuous improvement. If this message resonated with you and helped you reflect on situations where you've compromised your values, we'd love to hear from you. Share your life experiences in the comments. Have you ever held back when you should have stood firm? How did it impact you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from learning how to stand their ground. Let's build a community where we prioritize integrity, strength, and living in alignment with our values. Number 4. Duty to justice. In Stoicism, the concept of justice is central to living a virtuous life. When we talk about stepping on someone's toes in the context of Stoicism, we are referring to standing firm in the pursuit of justice, even if it makes others uncomfortable or unhappy. This approach may seem confrontational or uncompromising, but for the Stoic, doing what is just takes precedence over how others might feel about it. Justice demands that we act in ways that uphold fairness, morality, and the greater good, regardless of the discomfort it might cause those around us. A real-life example of this comes from the world of football. Imagine a well-known footballer, like Marcus Rashford, who uses his platform to challenge systemic issues such as child poverty. His campaign for free school meals in the UK during the COVID-19 pandemic was a powerful example of someone stepping on the toes of political leaders and public officials to promote justice. Despite facing criticism from certain sectors of society, Rashford remained committed to his cause, understanding that the discomfort he caused was necessary to bring about change. This illustrates how the pursuit of justice often requires standing up to authority or popular opinion in order to serve the greater good. Another important aspect of Stoic justice is that it is not about being liked or avoiding conflict. A Stoic does not shy away from difficult conversations or situations just because they might offend others. In fact, sometimes offending others is a necessary byproduct of pursuing justice. This is because the truth is often uncomfortable, and exposing injustice can disrupt the comfortable lives of those who benefit from it. By stepping on their toes, you force them to confront the truth and the need for change. The Stoic knows that people may resist or push back against these actions, but that resistance is no reason to abandon the pursuit of what is right. In personal relationships, this idea applies as well. If a close friend is behaving in a way that is harmful to others or themselves, staying silent to avoid upsetting them is an injustice in itself. Justice demands that we speak the truth, even when it's difficult, and even when it may strain the relationship. For example, if a friend consistently mistreats others or engages in harmful behavior, the just action is to confront them, regardless of how uncomfortable it might make them. Stoicism teaches that doing what is right often means enduring temporary discomfort or conflict in order to promote long-term growth and fairness. Furthermore, stepping on toes in the name of justice teaches others about the importance of integrity and moral courage. When you stand up for what is right, even when it's difficult, you set an example for others to follow. This can be particularly important in leadership roles, whether in the workplace, in social circles, or in public life. A leader who avoids confrontation to preserve harmony is not truly leading. They are allowing injustice to continue unchecked. By contrast, a leader who is willing to step on toes to enforce justice fosters an environment where fairness and morality are prioritized over comfort and complacency. Stoicism emphasizes that the opinions of others should not dictate your actions when it comes to justice. How others feel about your decision to step on their toes is secondary to doing what is right. As Marcus Aurelius advised, a Stoic must act according to their principles, not according to the reactions of those around them. This means that you must remain steadfast in the face of criticism, anger, or rejection. The pursuit of justice requires resilience and the understanding that people will often resist change, but that resistance should not deter you from your path. Number 5. Avoiding passivity. In Stoicism, one of the core teachings is to take active responsibility for one's actions and choices, never succumbing to passivity in the face of life's challenges. Passivity, whether in personal decisions or in addressing moral wrongs, leads to stagnation. Stepping on someone's toes is sometimes necessary when standing firm in the face of passivity, whether it's your own or someone else's. This approach might cause discomfort, but it is crucial for personal growth and for upholding a life of virtue, which the Stoics saw as the highest goal. Avoiding passivity ensures that you act in alignment with your values, regardless of how others might feel about it. Passivity is dangerous because it allows external forces, circumstances, or people to dictate your actions or lack thereof. Instead of taking charge, passivity leads to a life of reacting rather than creating. This is where stepping on toes becomes essential. Challenging the status quo, whether in your own life or in the lives of others, is necessary for progress. When you actively confront issues, you set in motion the changes required for growth, even if it means others might feel uncomfortable or challenged by your actions. The Stoic approach emphasizes rational action over inaction, even when those actions ruffle feathers. Take the case of a well-known singer, someone like Beyoncé, who has often spoken about taking control of her career and life in ways that may have caused discomfort to others. Throughout her career, she has made bold decisions, including breaking away from her management team and establishing her own creative control. Some of these decisions may have stepped on the toes of industry professionals or even close collaborators, but they were necessary for her to break free from the passivity that would have come from simply going along with what was expected of her. This kind of assertiveness aligns with Stoic values, where pursuing personal excellence and virtue is more important than pleasing others. In personal relationships, avoiding passivity is also essential. Imagine a situation where a friend or family member consistently behaves in a way that negatively affects their own life or the lives of others. If you remain passive in this situation, you are effectively enabling their behavior by not addressing it. Stoicism teaches that avoiding difficult conversations just to maintain harmony is a form of moral weakness. Stepping on toes in this case means calling out harmful behavior when you see it, regardless of how uncomfortable it might be for both parties. Your duty to justice and virtue should guide your actions, not the fear of someone's reaction. Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius emphasized that we cannot control how others respond to our actions, but we can control the decisions we make. When you choose to confront passivity, whether in yourself or others, you are acting in line with Stoic wisdom. You must detach from the outcome, knowing that while your actions may stir up tension or resistance, they are rooted in a commitment to virtue. The Stoic does not shy away from conflict if that conflict arises from doing what is right. By stepping on someone's toes to avoid passivity, you are taking responsibility for your role in the world, rather than allowing yourself or others to drift aimlessly. In Stoicism, stepping on toes to avoid passivity is not about being aggressive or confrontational for the sake of it. It's about ensuring that you and those around you live according to virtue and reason. Passivity is the enemy of growth, and it is your responsibility to challenge it whenever you encounter it, even if that means making others uncomfortable. The discomfort is temporary, but the strength of character you build by refusing to remain passive is lasting. Number 6. Promoting reason. In Stoicism, reason is central to living a virtuous life. Stepping on someone's toes becomes necessary when reason must be promoted over emotion, confusion, or irrationality. Stoicism teaches that our ability to reason is what sets us apart from other creatures and is essential for achieving eudaimonia, a life of flourishing. When you encounter situations where others are driven by irrational fears, emotions, or illogical thinking, it becomes your duty to stand firm and challenge these beliefs, even if it causes discomfort. This is how you promote reason, and it is essential in living according to Stoic principles. Consider the example of a well-known figure like Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world. Throughout his career, Bezos has made decisions that often went against the grain of conventional thinking. Early on, many doubted Amazon's business model and even questioned its long-term viability. Bezos, however, remained committed to his vision, which was based on a clear, rational understanding of the evolving digital landscape. By sticking to his reasoned approach, even in the face of criticism, he built one of the most successful companies in the world. Many may have felt uncomfortable with his unconventional methods, but Bezos prioritized reason over the opinions and emotions of others. His example shows that sometimes stepping on toes and disregarding irrational criticism is necessary to promote sound, rational decisions. In everyday life, promoting reason often means not allowing yourself to be swayed by the emotional arguments of those around you. People may want you to act in ways that make them feel comfortable, even if those actions are not based on sound reasoning. In such cases, stepping on their toes involves asserting a rational course of action, even if it conflicts with their emotional needs or desires. While this may cause friction in relationships, the Stoic approach teaches that it is better to maintain your integrity and adhere to reason than to compromise for the sake of harmony. The Stoics also believed that living according to reason involves making difficult decisions that others might not agree with. Often, people are too concerned with the short-term discomfort that rational decisions might bring, and they seek to avoid conflict or hardship. In such cases, stepping on toes means pushing people to recognize that the long-term benefits of rational action outweigh the temporary discomfort. This is where true Stoic leadership shines. By promoting reason, you guide others toward a better outcome, even if they cannot immediately see the value in your actions. Ultimately, stepping on someone's toes to promote reason is not about being antagonistic for the sake of it. It's about upholding the Stoic commitment to truth and rationality in a world that is often governed by emotions and irrational impulses. Whether it's in a business context like Jeff Bezos, in personal relationships, or in your own self-discipline, Stoicism teaches that reason must guide your actions. Even if others feel uncomfortable or resist your efforts, promoting reason is always the right course of action. Number 7. Maintaining integrity. In the realm of Stoicism, maintaining integrity is paramount, and stepping on others' toes can often be a necessary step toward upholding that integrity. The Stoics believed that virtue is the highest good, and living in accordance with one's values is essential to a fulfilling life. When faced with situations where others might compromise their principles for comfort or acceptance, it becomes imperative to assert your own integrity, even if it means causing discomfort or conflict. This can manifest in challenging conversations, difficult decisions, or even outright disagreements with friends or colleagues. When you maintain your integrity, you set a standard for yourself and those around you. This is especially relevant in professional settings where ethical dilemmas can arise. For instance, if a colleague is engaging in questionable practices, it may be uncomfortable to call them out. However, by stepping on their toes, pointing out the unethical behavior, you uphold your integrity and encourage others to reflect on their actions. This kind of assertiveness is essential not just for your moral compass, but also for fostering an environment where integrity is valued. Take the example of Elon Musk, the richest man in the world and a prominent figure in technology and innovation. Musk is known for his unconventional approach to business and his willingness to challenge the status quo. His pursuit of ambitious goals, such as colonizing Mars or revolutionizing transportation through electric vehicles, often puts him at odds with traditional business practices. Musk's steadfast commitment to his vision, despite facing criticism and skepticism, illustrates the essence of maintaining integrity. He is not afraid to step on the toes of established norms in pursuit of what he believes is right. For instance, Musk has publicly challenged the automotive industry by prioritizing sustainable energy solutions, pushing back against fossil fuel dependency. His determination to remain true to his mission has occasionally ruffled feathers in the industry, leading to conflicts with traditional automakers and their practices. Instead of conforming to the expectations of others, he chooses to uphold his values, demonstrating that integrity can come with a price. The discomfort caused by his actions is often a necessary part of promoting a greater good, reflecting the Stoic principle of living in accordance with one's beliefs. Moreover, maintaining integrity is crucial in leadership roles. Leaders who prioritize integrity set an example for their teams. By addressing unethical behavior, making tough decisions, and holding others accountable, leaders embody the Stoic ideal of virtue in action. They create an environment where team members feel empowered to voice their concerns and stand up for what is right. This fosters a culture of integrity that benefits everyone involved, reinforcing the idea that stepping on toes is not just an individual act, it is a collective responsibility. Another aspect of maintaining integrity is the idea of personal accountability. Stoicism teaches that individuals must take responsibility for their actions and their consequences. This means that if stepping on someone's toes is necessary to uphold your principles, you must be prepared to accept the fallout. Whether it leads to temporary discomfort in relationships or professional repercussions, the Stoic commitment to integrity ultimately outweighs these challenges. By facing the consequences head-on, you reinforce your character and strengthen your moral foundation. If this message resonated with you and helped you reflect on situations where you've compromised your values, we'd love to hear from you. Share your life experiences in the comments. Have you ever held back when you should have stood firm? How did it impact you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from learning how to stand their ground. Let's build a community where we prioritize integrity, strength, and living in alignment with our values. Number 8. Facing fear of confrontation. In the context of Stoicism, facing the fear of confrontation is essential for personal growth and integrity. Many individuals shy away from confrontation due to fear of conflict, rejection, or the desire to maintain harmony. However, Stoicism teaches that confronting challenges head-on is not just a necessity, but a virtue. When you step on someone's toes, you assert your values, promote honesty, and encourage constructive dialogue. This is especially relevant in professional environments where clear communication and accountability are critical. Confrontation often arises in various scenarios, such as workplace disagreements, ethical dilemmas, or personal relationships. The Stoics believed that avoiding confrontation only serves to perpetuate misunderstandings and reinforce negative behaviors. When we sidestep difficult conversations, we fail to express our true thoughts and feelings, which can lead to resentment and frustration. By stepping on toes, we honor our values and encourage others to do the same. A notable example of someone who faced fear of confrontation is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States and a well-respected lawyer. Ginsburg dedicated her life to fighting for gender equality and civil rights. Throughout her career, she encountered significant pushback and opposition, especially when advocating for women's rights in a male-dominated legal landscape. Rather than shy away from confrontation, Ginsburg confronted it with courage and conviction. During her early career, Ginsburg took on cases that challenged discriminatory laws. In one pivotal case, she argued before the Supreme Court that the gender-based division of labor was inherently discriminatory. This confrontation was not only against established norms, but also against a legal system that had long been biased toward men. Ginsburg understood that her actions would likely ruffle feathers, but she stepped forward anyway, armed with the conviction that justice and equality were worth fighting for. By confronting these injustices, she didn't just advocate for herself, but for countless others who faced discrimination. In Stoicism, facing confrontation can be seen as an exercise in virtue. When we engage in difficult conversations, we practice honesty and integrity, fostering an environment where open dialogue can flourish. Ginsburg's ability to confront the legal system, despite the risks involved, demonstrated her commitment to her principles. Stoicism emphasizes that we cannot control others' reactions, but we can control our responses and actions. By stepping on toes in pursuit of justice, Ginsburg embodied the Stoic ideal of facing challenges without succumbing to fear. Another critical aspect of facing confrontation is the development of resilience. When you confront fears, especially those tied to interpersonal relationships or professional settings, you build the ability to withstand future challenges. Each time you engage in a tough conversation, you enhance your capacity to manage discomfort and uncertainty. This resilience is crucial in a world filled with complex relationships and intricate moral dilemmas. If this message resonated with you and helped you reflect on situations where you've compromised your values, we'd love to hear from you. Share your life experiences in the comments. Have you ever held back when you should have stood firm? How did it impact you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from learning how to stand their ground. Let's build a community where we prioritize integrity, strength, and living in alignment with our values. Thank you for watching.